Well, good morning, handsome man. How are you?
I'm doing beautifully, brother. How are you?
We're all right on this side. All right.
Morning.
I was like, I swear to God, if you don't have sound.
How are you always dressed up?
I was in a t-shirt and I was like, I'll just throw a polo real quick.
Neither one of us ever has that thought. We go, man, what if I throw on a, nah.
Your wife is going to be so pissed. She's going to roll over and you're going to be fully dressed with a hat on in bed. Like, morning, honey. She's like, John, what are you doing? What happened to your pajamas? No, I knew you were waking up. So I want to just be prepared for you.
My guess is that his pajamas are going to be
dress clothes,
polo, like dress clothes. They're going to be like really nice.
Just in case I have to like run out the door and go to a cocktail party. I have to be ready at all times.
He's not wrong. He's not wrong, man.
You never know that impromptu cocktail parties show up.
1 a.m., 2 a.m., 5, maybe 12 in the afternoon, doesn't matter. Gorski's prepared for your cocktail party.
Exactly. Sometimes
and with that being said,
sneaky ass mug.
Yeah.
So classy.
Here's our morning cocktail party of coffee and whatever the hell you guys are having.
My buddy's joining in probably in the next minute. I told him to give us like in case we had any difficulties.
We brought some testosterone.
Talk shit about him until then.
Yeah, I don't know who this friend is, but shit, man, this guy. If he's your friend, he's got to be a piece of shit. He's got to be just a complete. I need to see this guy's rap sheet. He's got a criminal record.
That's why we make your guests go last.
Exactly.
Hey, you guys brought some amazing guests. So I was just like, all right, who can I bring? And I had a couple people in mind. And it was funny because originally he wasn't one of the people in mind, but he came over for dinner the other night. So then yesterday when I was like, all right, cool, we're doing this tomorrow. And I was like, oh, absolutely. This is a perfect person. Because every time I talk with him, we have similar to what we talk about. So
perfect timing because Arthur Kanai.
Yeah, Kanai.
It's popping in right now.
Oh, there, perfection. There it is. So anyway, like I was saying, whoever this guy is going to be complete trash. Yeah, it's going to be completely terrible.
Oh, what's up, Arthur? Hey. Oh, shit.
Hey, yeah.
What's up?
John, been looking forward to your guest. Been looking forward to this. This is fantastic.
Brandon, I know that you can't see his face right now. Yeah. But hello, Arthur.
He's like, these guys are
we pretty much do these everything that happens on these calls in like the first 5 minutes is essentially just for the intro edit. So I apologize that you got thrown into that mix. But welcome.
Welcome.
No apologies needed. I don't know what the hell's going on, so we're all good.
Join the club. John, you want to do introductions?
Yes. This is Arthur Kanai. He is a dear friend. We've known each other, I'd say 6-7 years now. And we've just gone through a lot of different stuff personally, but also through different workshops and stuff that we've both grown a lot. And he's been a close brother that have had some amazing conversations, have grown. We've both learned from each other. And so when having a guest on the show, I've learned from both Colt and Brandon so much that I was like, oh, this is going to be a great addition. Bring some just good meeting of the minds together.
That's awesome.
Okay. All right.
Oh my God. I mean, you're right, but come on. Arthur, dude, so nice to meet you. Thank you so much for being here and for taking time out of your day to be a part of this. This is awesome.
Yeah, man. Thanks for having me. Colt and Brandon. John,
the introductions part. I'm Colt.
My introduction. I'm still how do you guys all know each other?
Colt and I used to strip together. We were both strippers.
Yeah, makes sense.
For an afternoon.
And then Gorski was our pimp, and he hired us. And so we were like, this is a really good business transaction. He's like the brains of the operation, and we're the bronze in the body. And we just like made a lot of money. And he was like, well, I'm kind of tired of this. So how about we actually start a podcast? And I was like, fantastic. I'm fine not like clapping my butt cheeks for a couple dollars. So
and I never figured out how to do it because it's all in the ankles.
It's in the ankles. But my ankles are getting bad. When you're 32, your ankles go out. You've been doing it for 18 years. It's out everything.
so I'm gonna go on and
wrote that out. I love it.
I'm gonna smooth this over for you and let you know that he's not entirely lying. So Brandon and I we're both professional dancers and artists. Cool. And we met at an audition for both of us had friends that were choreographing Magic Mike. And so we met in an audition for that. Both of us ended up getting it and not being able to do it. And then kept in touch. I would write for NewAgeGents sometimes. We would just call. We realized that we were going to be lifelong friends. And one day he said, "Hey, I'm a part of this men's group, and I think you should jump on this call." And I was like, "Okay, you know me. I don't do those things.
Yeah.
I don't talk to people very often." And he was like, "No, I think you should." And I jumped on, and it was Gorski and the Refinery. And as we had those conversations a little bit, I asked, because we have a YouTube channel and a business called Part of Love, which is the goal is to help people find the love they deserve. And I thought that this was a great thing to host on the platform. So I asked Gorski if he was down for it, and now we're 3 seasons deep. And
Cool.
yeah, so that's how we know each other. I don't know actually how Brandon and Gorski met.
It was through NewAgeGents as well. It was through NewAgeGents, and he was John Gent, like he is John Gent.
Right.
So I think there was this, a natural pull to each other and just connecting online. But it's just been an amazing ride, and I think it's interesting. Like after a while, you don't really remember how you met, but you almost feel like you've always known each other.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what you see here with the 3 of us, which is just like 3 brothers. So speaking of that, it's a quick segue. I've gotten 2 other voice messages about the Refinery, and everyone talks about our chemistry and how we talk to each other.
Oh, yeah.
And it's the best feeling in the world. So there's one interview that came out yesterday where you guys came up. The interviewer brought you guys up, and then I was able to talk about the Refinery. And then I did. There's in Canada. There's a big radio station there that I've been doing now for maybe 6 months, maybe longer than 6 months. I've been coming on as a guest, and he brought it up, and he loves you guys. His name's Shane Hewitt. He absolutely loves you guys. And he's like, Colt, John, and this and that, and I love this about the episode, and I love this. And tell the guys to say hi. And he's someone I'd love to have on here. But he brought up the fact that when he listens to us talk, he said it doesn't feel like we're posturing or anything like that. It's like you just hear 3 men having a real conversation, and that's what I love. And I love that John brought you into the Arthur to have that conversation with us. Even just how you've come on, I'm like, oh, dude, this is gonna be fucking amazing. He's gonna slide right in there. Not literally, but you know what I mean.
God, I wish I didn't laugh at that like a fucking teenager. Like I was trying so hard to just. That's
It's early. It's early. I'm halfway through coffee, so everything's gonna be pretty raunchy for the next like 15 minutes.
Arthur, how do you guys know each other? Is it? I think John, you kind of mentioned it a second ago, but I want to hear it from Arthur's perspective.
Guys, it's crazy. He was my pimp too.
At least he's got a well-rounded roster, by the way.
Exactly.
Right? A well-rounded roster. Whatever you need.
Diversity.
I got whatever flavor.
Diversity
whatever flavor
first
you
with
want.
Gorski's pimping.
Yeah, that's nice. And premium
Style.
Funny. Really, it was personal development. I did a little bit before him, but we have a really strong community here in Los Angeles of people who have done different workshops and, just like the Refinery, making ourselves better. And through that mix, we ended up meeting each other. We worked in the same industry, but different facets for a long time. And we knew a lot of the same people. And I don't know, honestly, we actually traced a couple of days ago how and when we met, and we weren't sure exactly. And we figured it out, but I don't know when we started getting a lot closer, but I think a lot of it was COVID too. We lived really close to each other, and I started coming over, hanging out at his house, and just showing up for each other. And it's been great. Like John is, like you said, like John Gent, like the definition of like someone who's giving and looking out for his community and his people, and making sure as his ship rises with the water, everyone else's ship rises too. And so it's always inspiring to be with him. Like, I love this guy.
Come on.
Well, starting early. Come on, somebody.
Yeah. Come on, somebody.
Come on, somebody. Soak it in.
The first one. Come on.
Yeah. You got it. You got it in early. I like this guy. Like him a lot.
Well, shit.
Yeah.
Topic,
as you know me.
Sorry, appetizer topic. Appetopic.
Thank you. There's a lot of celebration happening this weekend for different reasons. One, Father's Day is coming up. For some, it's not celebration, but I want to celebrate it. I would like to acknowledge it for the celebration of it and who can be celebrated and what is celebrated today. I was going for a walk yesterday with someone new, and it was a really nice walk. We had ice cream and we were talking, and then I passed a dad. I have to acknowledge this was a Black dad, and this was in like Beverly Hills. And I was kind of like, I was like, wait, what? It was a Black dad, Black mom, 2 kids outside, and they were in the street playing basketball. This felt very Texas for like 2.5 seconds because I was like, I'm in Beverly Hills, and they're in the street. This isn't. They have a court in their backyard. This man has pulled out the like rolling basketball court. Yeah. Got it popped
filled with water or sand.
Correct. Filled with water or sand. And they're shooting hoops right there in the street. And then if a car's rolling by, they're like, car. And I'm like, this is incredible. So as we're walking by, I was like, that's the dream. This is the dream. And he was like, I got to show him how I do it. And then just busted a 3, right? His kid's got it. This guy's like 6'2". His son's like 6 foot. And he's probably 15. I mean, gosh. And then the wife is out there playing too. So it made me feel some kind of way. I thought I was done with all the emotional feelings, right? Nope, not done. Keep walking. We turn the corner, guy walking by in a 3-piece suit. I'm like, a 3-piece suit? What's happening here? And his kids are around the corner and he yells to his daughter, he says, no mom in sight. Baby, come back here, come back here. Boom. All 3 of them finished their walkout. I'm like, Jesus Christ, it's Dad's Day. Not done. Bust a corner, go down the street. And then I see this couple, younger couple, I'd say, probably their mid-30s, and their daughter is on not anything new. They have her on one of those vintage, like reddish tricycle bikes that squeak. There's like a, I can't think of the name of the company. It's like Radio something.
Radio Flyer.
Yes. She's on one of those bikes. And you literally can hear, and I was like, dude, that sounded so nostalgic. And he's like, that's my childhood right there. And as we passed those 3, she saw me light up, and I was just like, this is such an amazing feeling to know that this is actually life. This isn't something that is on a poster or a billboard and ad, someone trying to push Father's Day. We just saw 3 active fathers with their kids doing something for Father's Day. So there's that. So I wanted to take a second in some way, shape, or form. What is a memory that you could pull from either a father figure or a mentor or your actual father? What is a memory you could pull from to celebrate Father's Day? Because when they watch this, it will have already passed. But I still wanted to acknowledge it here on the Refinery. What is a memory you have from your father figure, or a mentor or uncle that has really contributed to you as a man?
Arthur, guests first.
It's kind of how it works here. Yeah.
Oh, man. For me, I don't think it's a specific memory, but it's the memory of who my dad is and who he was. And so my dad's from Japan. He's super Japanese. I like to joke that Japanese men, they don't like to talk. They just like to make noises. So for me, my dad's noise is, So you're like, Dad, I love you. And he's like, You know, that's it.
That's a Japanese thing.
It's a Japanese thing. They just make noises, right? And as he gets older, he just makes more noises. Dad, I love you. Dad, I hate you. You suck. That's all I get. But realizing like he's doing the best he knows how to do. And this guy is the pillar in my life of honor and integrity and duty. Ask no questions, just do it well the first time, and do it that way every single time. Like this guy showed up through action without question. Life wasn't always easy for him. It wasn't always good to him, but it was always like, you know, a weird, looking back on it now, it's like, you know what, whatever this is my karmic lot, whatever it is, and I'm just going to do this well. And I didn't really understand it as a kid. I was young, fun. I liked people. I made a lot of noises, and I talked to people, and I was like a gregarious kid. And I didn't understand this man until I got older, and I look back on it, and it's like, dude, this guy taught me integrity and duty and how to show up consistently no matter what, and don't blame anyone else.
Congratulations, man. That's
wow.
Solid opener.
Wow.
Yeah.
Solid. And it's out of the park, ladies and gentlemen, on his first hit.
And fade to color. That was
There you go.
Jesus.
Wow.
Gorski.
Yeah. Obviously, I have some good stories with my dad, but the one that comes up is my godfather. He turned 90 on Tuesday, and he's out in Maui. And I love visiting this guy. He's been such a pillar for our family. But the one memory is actually, I think, one of my visits in 2019. I sat down with him and I was like, "What is something that represents for you family?" Or like with my Barbara who passed, was something about the relationship. And he was just like, live every moment like this is that one last moment you might get with that person. And he used to do that so much up until my aunt passed away. And it hit him those last couple of times he got to hang out with her. And he's like, you just never know. And he's like, if you do know, it's a blessing. But if you don't, you never know when you're not going to know. And he's just like, enjoy every moment you have with the people you love and your family, and your family should come first. And we grew up like, he had a big family, he had 5 kids. He personally had 6 other siblings. And so holidays were always at his house. And my mom got brought to America through a priest, was sponsored by a priest, and then he had to move. So my Uncle Eddie basically sponsored her. And one by one would say, hey, bring any friends you wanted to the holiday party. And my mom would bring 1 friend one year, and then suddenly it was like 5 friends. And the next thing it was like 10 friends. And he would always welcome everyone. He wanted all about just enjoying this moment, celebrating. And so many of my photos I have of him are just like, he's just jolly kind of, he always looked like the granddad. But he would always say, enjoy every moment you have with the people, even as simple as having a cup of coffee with someone. Enjoy the moment, be with them in that moment. You don't know if you're gonna get that chance again. And so that's stuck with me because anytime I'm with him, I'm just like trying to capture as much as I can. And he definitely has helped me appreciate just so much more of life, or just appreciate everything we have while we have it.
I mean, there's a nice tie-in that both of you kind of touched on, and I want to kind of follow that up with. So you touched on karma, essentially, right, Arthur? What your kind of dad's, whether it's his karmic lot or not, and not knowing when you're going to see someone again. These things, these kind of fatalistic things that we don't have control over, right? But what I love is that both of these men in your lives essentially chose that very classic Epictetus Stoic philosophy of the obstacle is the way.
The way.
Right?
I just got that book, literally.
It's a good one.
It's a good one.
It's such a necessary thing for us to remember. And one that's definitely helped me lately, and some things that have come across our path. And Arthur, I tend to refer to everything as our, because of my wife, because she's just, it's us. So everything, if you hear me say our, it's just me and her and our pups. But what's come across our path has been this thing of going, okay, how do I make this life now? Because this is life now. I can fight it or I can just accept it. And it's funny, before I'd ever heard that phrase, I remember when I saw the movie Life of Pi, and when I read the book, it didn't click because I was too young. But when I saw the movie, I just remember there was this moment of going, at a certain point, you have to accept this is life now. Mm-hmm. And either I die or I live. These are my 2 choices. Like, at the end of the day, that's what it comes down to. And I love that the men in your lives have, especially the ones who made such a big impact in a way of looking at those obstacles and going, okay, I'm going to choose to live. I'm going to choose life, and I'm going to choose to make it the best possible case it can be. And I'm not going to ignore the reality of my situation, but I'm also just going to make it as good as it can be. To answer Brandon's beginning question, this will be, I think, the first Father's Day that I have spent with my dad ever. And I haven't told him yet. I'm just going to drive up to the house tomorrow and take him to the shooting range, and maybe just take him out to the mountain and hang out a little. And But the thing that came to mind was yesterday, Angela and I were running around, and I was like, I need some frozen custard. I need some frozen custard in my life. So we're gonna go stop and get some frozen custard and sit outside and eat it, and then we can go back to doing a bunch of shit. So we go and we're standing there in line, and the man who's getting the custard turns around and grabs some napkins and hands them to me. And we've been into this place a bunch, but I didn't ask for a stack of napkins. And he just points, and I turn, and there's a little girl, and she just goes, hand her the napkins. She turns to another little girl in this place and waves to her. He's like, hi, and then walks out. I don't think anything of it, but we're like, holy shit, that little child is so beautiful. And like the heart on this kid is just like so full. Walk outside, she sees us, and she's just staring, and she's just sitting there with her dad. And we're eating, we have a couple of bites, and all of a sudden it's like a movie. It's like Despicable Me. She pops up in front of us. Like we're talking, and we look, and the child is just standing there. She goes, hi. We're like, hi. She goes, what's your name? And we start talking, and her name is Maya. And we have a 15-minute conversation with this child. Her dad finally is just sitting there, like trusts. He just comes over and goes, I don't know why, but she was really taken by you guys, and she just wanted to talk to you. Thank you for talking to her. And we were like, well, we would talk anytime. He said, we're here every week at 4 p.m. And I was like, oh, you guys have a daddy-daughter date every week. And so we're already talking about going back next Thursday towards like the back end of that, around that 4:30 mark, so they can have their time. But like, this little kid is amazing. And it was just such a beautiful moment to be like, he didn't have a problem with the fact that she wanted to spend 15 minutes talking to anybody. He trusted it. It was very, very cool. It was a neat experience to see that. And again, it wasn't a Father's Day thing. It was just a father and his daughter. And that just, it got me. It made me real happy.
And that's what's been interesting about the fathers of today, right? Arthur, I think your dad, right? I'm sure each of us can lump our dad in the same category with him. They're just old school cats. Mm-hmm. They're all old school cats, and how they go about it. And you said it perfectly. Like, you just had to accept the fact that he was doing the best he could with what he knew emotionally. But what he did was he gave you some kind of blueprint and framework to build from and build off of. So my dad is the same way. But what I love is that we are integrating those values and that methodology of going about life in a certain way, figuring it out, taking care of business, making sure you're providing, but now partnered with trusting my daughter to go have a 15-minute conversation with two strangers, not overly protective, like, hey, get back over here. Mm-hmm. Right? Because that creates some sense of heightened sense of why can't I go talk to a stranger? Now, we don't know, but 15 years later, she's now having this weird thing when she's around people in public, and she doesn't feel that comfortable or confident to go talk to strangers, right? So we're seeing something really beautiful happening with that kind of integration. My dad, I mean, I've been talking about my dad so much recently. My biological father, he and I are not close, weren't close like that, but we're getting close, we're becoming friends. And I think the takeaway from him is his view of love. I think, like, he loves love. He didn't really land the relationship that I think in his mind he wanted, but because of that, he's kind of living through me right now, my dating life. In a way, he'll just be like, hey man, so what's going on with so and so? Oh, come on, man, don't be stupid, man. Come on, what are you doing? Well, just do something simple, And I'm living kind of on it's a weird space that I'm in, right? But I'm in it with him, but I'm also above, and I'm looking down at this, and I'm like, if 5-year-old Brandon knew this was going to happen, he wouldn't have been so angry. He wouldn't have been so angry at him. And as my dad is kind of like coming full circle with feeling safe to open up and be himself, he's funny. And it's something people used to tell me. And I was like, I've never met this funny man that everyone thinks my dad is. He's fucking hilarious because he's me. He's literally me. And the way we talk to each other, it's like we're one and the same, like in the best way possible. So I think even with this Father's Day, it was the first Father's Day that I was like, I really felt in my gut, like I want to celebrate the man that played a part of bringing me into this world. Even if it's just to hop on the phone and talk to him and shoot the shit. But I think what I'm going to do is, because he's not going to watch it because he's terrible at social media and anything like that, is we both love music. And one of his favorite albums is Jon Colt, Love Supreme. And I think I'm going to buy him some vinyl records, and I'm going to find some kind of like coffee table book of Jon Coltrane or just Miles Davis or any of these guys that he loves for his house. So that's kind of where this whole conversation has come from, which is just observing fatherhood as of today. And we're seeing it with all the celebrities, right? Kevin Hart has a movie coming out called Fatherhood. That's going to be amazing. Oprah Winfrey has a special celebrating fatherhood with Sterling K. Brown. These are things that I don't think we've seen. I mean, a full-blown special just celebrating dads that are like showing up and being there. They don't have to be the funniest and the most loving, but if your dad is showing up, I think that's what a kid needs. I just need you to show up for me. You don't have to be Superman, but if you show up for me, I know that you love me and you're here for me. So that leads me to number 2, which is, how do you define being blessed?
I don't know if you can see my face, but I cannot wait for this.
Yeah. How do you define being blessed? And that's going to take me to another one, which is, I wanted to use this episode to celebrate. I wanted to use this episode to really celebrate, because I've got some shit going on right now and it's going to be tough come Tuesday. But I was like, let's just fucking lay into the good in our life, right? Whatever that looks like. So I want to know from you guys, what does it look like, 1, to be blessed? What does blessed mean to you? And then 2, what are those blessings? How are they showing up in your life?
Guess first?
Yeah, come on, somebody. Come on, welcome to church. Yes, sir.
So I'm going to start off with a little story. I recently got a new car, but
let's go.
I really thought, celebrating that, I am blessed.
Yes.
But as I was looking for a car, I was obsessing, like, what am I going to get next? And I feel like I'm going to drive the next car for a really long time, and like, I got to get the right one. And I landed on the Lexus IS. It's like, it's nice enough. It's luxurious, but it's also sporty. It's also practical because it's a 4-door. And so I'm looking online for hours every single day, just researching everything, what model and all that stuff. And I swear to God, every car on the road was a Lexus IS during that time. Because I'm obsessing, right? Hours a day. And so I'm driving around, and all of a sudden it's like, oh my God, there's Lexus ISs everywhere. Something I've never noticed in my life. Everywhere. And I swear to God, this was the lesson. I looked at that and I was like, holy shit, whatever I focus on is what I see out in the world, period. That's just a fact of life. That's just what it is. I've been obsessing over the Lexus IS, and all I see are Lexus ISs. I'm driving around. I can see that's a 96. I don't think they have them in 96, but that's a 2010. And that's that model. Da, 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 da. Ooh, they had that package. Blah. And I was like, holy shit, man. If I tune my eyes to the blessings in my life, that's what's going to grow. Because I tuned my eyes to Lexus ISs, and all I saw were Lexus ISs, and that's what grew. I ended up not getting the Lexus IS. And literally, as soon as I stopped obsessing over the Lexus IS, I don't see them on the road anymore. They're still out there. I just don't see it. And so for me, the lesson was like, dude, if I just tune myself to the blessings in my life and what I'm grateful for, that's what I'm going to see in my life, and that's what's going to grow, period. And I started practicing that religiously, and it works. And for me, it was relationships, people in my life, John being one of them. And so blessings for me, I think no matter what, look, if we're waking up every morning with breath in our lungs, eyes open, our feet hit the ground, we're awake, that's blessing number 1. Start there, man. You start there and it just grows. But, I like, listen, we all have complaints, but the fact of the matter is it's 2021 in the United States. And if we are living in this country in 2021, we are the most privileged, entitled, blessed, abundant group of humans that's ever
Jesus
lived in
Christ.
the history of the world. I don't care how old you are, what gender you are, what race you are. Like, we live in America in 2021. We're abundant. And so if we focus on the blessings, that's what's going to grow. And my lesson from Gorski is, and then you give it away. And it's going to grow even more.
Oh,
Mic drop.
shit.
I'm out. Thanks, guys.
Come on, somebody. Damn, dude.
Yo, I'm like in my seat, like ready to run, like full tilt sprint. Fuck, that was good. Shit. This is the only way I can express it is fuck shit.
Yeah.
Shit,
No, fuck shit. It's definitely
Fuck shit.
That's why fuck
Jesus.
shit up is such an important phrase. Right
Jesus.
But Brandon, it's crazy because this is like a new realization. Like, I've learned it, I've read it, but it was an actual thing that I've been practicing in the last month or two. And like the fact that you're bringing it up, I really appreciate it because it's like it brings it back to the forefront again.
Yeah, man. Wow. My face, I'm like, it's hurting because I'm smiling so big. I'm like, just go back down. Just go back down.
Shit.
I'm gonna go last because I got a bunch of noise going on. So I'll go
All
last.
all good. Colt, I just feel like it's a really nice handoff.
Yeah. I mean, it's a tough act to follow, but
We're actors, good sir. We're actors. Unseen.
no, I think so blessings lately have been for us I mean, abundant, but also just something that I guess the perspective has shifted. And perspective. So I used to do this thing where, because I hate New Year's resolutions, and no offense if you guys love them, I hate them for me.
Yeah.
They don't make sense to me. But what does make sense to me is that every year I would take a new word and I would try to focus on that. That was the beginning of my work, self-awareness. And then one year, I clicked onto perspective. This was about 6 years ago. And I was like, perspective. And then the next year I was like, well, I can't come up with a better one to keep working on than perspective. And it's been like 6 years and it's just perspective. It just kind of like branches out into so many things. And with that, it's been this kind of new perspective on blessings, which the keeping up with the Joneses concept, is something that we all try not to do. I understand that.
Right.
But at the same time, it's taken me a very long time, 36, coming up on 36 years, to get to a point where I could go, okay, I have this, but most importantly, the only thing I ever wanted, the thing that I sat in my little half chair, I just talked about this on a podcast yesterday, but y'all remember those little half like couches where it's like just a back and arms, and it's like, you can lay on the floor and you're like kind of sitting. And
Yeah.
It doesn't actually work at all. I don't know why they still exist, but so I was 8 or 9 when I was sitting in one of those, and I remember thinking, I just want to meet somebody who I could live under a bridge with in a box, and we would still love each other. I didn't want love to be based on the things that I saw love based on, which were like financial hardships or understanding each other, like all of these things that just they weren't love. I wanted this love that was something more than that. And so I focused on that forever. And the truth is, like, I'm very thankful that I have this beautiful home and that we have cars and homes and stuff. But the truth is, I have Ange and I have my girls. And when I shifted my perspective to, well, fuck, no matter what else we do or don't have, I have that thing that I really wanted, the only thing I ever really wanted. And so my blessings lately have been this reminder of, well, what's my circle? Like, what's my circle of like completion, of me being happy? I'm Ephesians 3:20, exceedingly abundantly above.
Don't start with me.
Because my circle goes, I'm multiple circles over past. Like, if I have the career that I want, when I have the career that I have and will continue to have, and that will only get better, that's great. But it's just a cherry on I'm already successful. I'm already very happy because I have something that most people will never have. I have somebody who loves me in a way that I don't think I deserve. And I can see that, and I can take action to do that back. Like I have that thing. So that's the way that I see blessings lately. And I think by doing that, and by all of we say love is action over time. Love is a verb. And that is something that has led us to taking so many more actions for each other because of that love, those circles, that full circle. And by not focusing on what we do or don't have, so many things have come towards us, because the reason that we're doing anything is really just for each other and for ourselves, and for that love. So yeah, I feel lately my perspective has shifted into acknowledging that all of this is super cool, but I don't fucking need any of it because I have that thing. That thing being my wife.
Listen, Ange, you better watch this thing back. You better watch this thing. This whole thing. Hey, I'm gonna give you the timestamp, Ange. Ange, fast forward to 28:40. Colt goes in. Okay, about why he's blessed. Okay,
Well, because
28:40
tried to fucking bring that shit, and I was like,
he
son of a
did.
bitch. And he's got a cool hat that I can't pull off. Motherfucker.
His style is beaming through the camera. I'm like, yo, this guy is fly. I like him.
Well, we should have known that Jon was going to bring somebody like that, because before you got on here, Arthur, we were like, son of a bitch, Gorski, wearing a t-shirt and a hoodie 24/7.
Literally.
Puts it in, but other than that, like I'm not.
Like, I stepped it up because I saw you guys on Instagram. I've seen some of the lives. I've seen the podcast, and I'm like, these are three really cool dudes. I gotta at least look a little cool when I get on here.
And we've let you down this morning. Fantastic. Thank you.
If you've seen my Instagram,
it's just an image.
Right now.
You are supposed to be naked for the audience. Wow. One thing, I mean, one of the biggest things you just said, Colton, maybe you were meaning this, maybe you didn't mean this, but like, I think a lot of times, whether we think about it consciously or subconsciously, we probably think success is a stop. I've got the thing that I want, but then you kept doing this. And I was like, oh shit, It's constantly in rotation. If you partner with what Arthur was saying, if you focus in on the blessings, it's alive. Right? It's your ecosystem of blessing and abundance, and it's constantly moving and constantly in motion, with action and belief partnered together. So I'm completely fired up right now, beyond belief. But blessing for me for a long time was obtaining materialistic things, because we didn't have a lot when we were kids. So if my mom went and got groceries, and there was a lot of groceries, we're blessed. If my mom went and got a new car, we're blessed. If my mom got a tax return, which was just simply because she's got 6 kids, we're blessed. And it took, we're blessed, because in that poverty mindset, and that scarcity mindset, it's, well, if we don't have, right. And it was partnered with some church values are based in, well, God's going to provide, and God's going to do this, and you're blessed, and this and this and this. And blessing started to become attached to obtaining and gathering of things, right? Attaching myself to materialistic things. So as I've grown and matured in my life, I was like, man, fuck this shit. I don't need that. I don't need this. I'm still me without the truck. I'm still me without this. I'm still me with all those things. So blessing for me became more about, like you said, it was about like, I am alive. Right. And if I'm alive, I am blessed because all of this is at my fingertips. If I step outside right now, I am embracing the sun. If I step outside right now, I can go pet my dogs. If I step outside right now, I can meet a stranger. That is blessing in itself. That is walking and living and breathing in the fact that anything is possible. Anything is possible because you're alive. If you're dead, nothing is possible. But because you're alive, anything is possible. Being a millionaire, being an astronaut, being an actor, being the president, being a fucking scuba diver, being married, having kids, adopting kids, buying a horse, buying a ranch, buying a mansion, moving to Taiwan, moving to Japan, reconciling your relationship with your father. Anything is possible because you're alive. But what you do with that time you've been given is up to you. What are you going to do? Are you going to grab hold of the reins of your blessing and ride the shit out of that motherfucker until you get to where you want to be in life? Buckle up, Sally, because we're going for a fucking ride. We're going, but you have to say to yourself, I want to sit in the saddle of life and go. I want to go. I want to live, but I can't limit myself because of where I come from, because I didn't have control over my circumstances as a child. That was someone else's story that I was birthed into. And now I have to say for myself, I don't want that, or I want that. And if I want that, I can have that. And I'm going to go get that because I'm deserving it because I'm alive. I'm here now. I'm here now. We don't get any of the time prior to this call back. But what we do from the second we hang up this call is solely on us. I don't give a shit what you have planned today. What you do from the moment you hop off this call is solely up to you. You can create that reality right this second, right now. That's blessing to me. So when I look at my life and I look at the extension of everything that I've ever dreamed of, it's not about like I have to have. I've dreamed of these things because I've said to myself, this is what I would like to ride a horse. I have a horse. I love dogs. I want to have dogs. I have my dogs. I love trucks because they can help people move and I can be of service in some sense of way. Or if someone got stuck, I can pull them out with the Hemi. I have the truck to be a blessing to others. Just like you said, Arthur, like you give it to give it away. You get it to give it away. I think if more people thought to themselves, I get it to give it away, they would understand how blessing works, because karma, going back to what you said, that's how it works. You get it to give it away for it to find its way back to you in the most beautiful way possible. And that goes right back to what Colt was saying. This is how it works. You get to give, blessed to be a blessing, blessed to be a blessing, blessed to be a blessing. I fucking love this shit. Thank you both for that shit, because I am on.
Ladies and gentlemen, Pastor Alexander will be here Friday.
Yo, that was one of the best.
I mean, I'd say that's literally your best sermon yet.
Yeah.
And you had some good ones. You had some doozies in 3 seasons, but that's hands down. I mean, that's the one that's going on IGTV. We all know.
Yeah, exactly.
And just so you know, that's probably the intro. Like there's pieces of that it's just we're gonna have praise music. We're gonna have the whole thing.
Dude. Inside, I'm on fire. Right
I don't know what kind of coffee you have, but get rid of my Nespresso and pop the heck out to California. This East Coast shit ain't doing it.
It's literally Folgers. It's literally Folgers.
Even better.
Just black coffee. Just
I was gonna say it's cowboy coffee.
It's cowboy coffee for sure.
There you go.
Oh my goodness.
All right, Gorski.
What you just tapped on, because I mean, all of you have tapped on so many amazing parts of what blessing is, but Brandon, how you really put it, it's so much about perspective. And like, if you see the blessings, like Arthur is saying, if you put your mind towards seeing the blessings, you're going to see blessings. If you put your mind to seeing what to complain about, you're going to see more things to complain about. And so it comes down to, and I mean, so much of what you guys are saying is like my ethos over the last like 2-3 years. And actually, like one of the workshops that Arthur and I know each other from, during that workshop, we talked about gratitude and like how often do we pay attention, how grateful we are. And it led to me doing, I mean, for a few years now, every morning, like 10 things I'm grateful for. It could be as simple as like having a bed to wake up from, having a coffee maker to make coffee, to hanging out with Arthur and having dinner the other night. It could be as simple, and let me know if this gets loud around, but even as simple as, now that led to an alarm that I have every day at 10:15 called just gratitude. And so at 10:15, I ask myself 3 things I'm grateful for. But the big trigger is usually I'm around people around that time. So I ask other people, hey, what are you grateful for? What are you grateful for? What are you grateful for? And now I have certain friends that they know, it's 10:15 if I'm asking them. Triggers with a lot of different friends. But the blessings of just like, and I've been in it right now, so many things I've set intentions and now are manifesting, and I'm able to see it. And I'm just, every day I wake up, I'm like, man, am I happy with my life? I'm like, yep. And it's like what Brandon was saying is like, I truly believe we're in a place in our life, and we're lucky in this time period. We can do anything we want, anything. And I tell people all the time, like even when I used to talk to kids in high school, the different high schools back in the day, I was like, I was a kid who threw parties And like I was the one who people told me is like, are you going to amount to anything if you just keep partying? And now I've thrown parties for the president of the United States, past President Barack Obama, and I was telling kids, I'm like, I believed that partying was going to be my big thing, and I made it. And I was like, whatever makes you happy, keep doing that, because that's the blessings will come and keep coming and keep coming. And like, even though you guys know about the Curtis thing, I was telling a friend last night, it was like I worked for this amazing chef for multiple years, award-winning chef. Then I saw catering operations for many years, and to then take everything there, I had the goal of then helping a catering company here in LA get on the map, and to do it now for someone who's a Michelin-starred chef. And like I got to work with him the other night, and I'm just standing there talking to him, and he's making food, and we're talking about what some of our next steps are. I took a moment where I just stepped back while he was just plating some stuff. And I'm like, man, I used to watch you on TV, and now I'm working with you, and I'm in the kitchen, and you're actually taking my advice on how to make business moves for the events division. And I'm like sitting here, and I'm like, wow, this is a blessing. And like leaving in the moment being like, wow, like every moment, even as simple as being on this phone call, is a blessing. I'm going to get off and like this call, and my days, I already know it's going to be so much better because of this conversation. And so looking at every single opportunity, and I say it every morning as one of my affirmations, is like seeing opportunities over obstacles. It's like there's going to be obstacles in everything we see. Every day there's obstacles. It can be as simple as like, oh man, someone's parked behind my car. But there's opportunity in everything. Oh, I've got a moment to go talk to that roommate real quick. Say, hey, what up? How are you doing? Any chance we can swap cars really quick? How's your day going so far? As simple as that. And it's been amazing. And kind of like going back to what Arthur said, if anyone who's watching this episode, if you don't have a practice, it just kind of brings you back to the blessings, brings you back to what you're grateful for. Putting that in place, game changer. Because there's been days where I'm like, and I'll pull up just to show you, there's been days where I'm like, man, like life's hard. I don't know if I'm getting anything done, and I don't know if this is worth it. And I will pull up my daily gratitude list, and literally it's every single thing for the last 3 years. I can go and I'll just randomly stop on something like a random day and look at like 10 things that on that day I was grateful for. I'm like, man, like I can't complain about anything. I've had a good life. I still have a good life. I know my life will continue being good, but I keep focusing on things like this.
Okay. So,
hey Siri, set alarm for 10:15 a.m.
Right. Exactly. All right. So you touched on two things that I really like there, Jon. So one of them is you were talking about, what you focus on essentially. And there's I think Bill Gates said this at some point, I believe, and I'm paraphrasing here, but he said that he believes what you focus on between the ages of, I think it was 12 and 15. It could be 15 and 18. So let's range it out and say 12 to 18, because we're paraphrasing anyway. What you focus on between 12 and 18 is what you are most likely to be successful at for the rest of your life. And for him, it was coding. And for Warren Buffett, because this came up in an interview with Warren Buffett, he said it was about investments. That was what got him in those years, in those very, very formative years. That's what got him. And I think that's so interesting that you were like, nah, I love partying, and I'm going to figure out how to do this for the rest of my life. John Mayer has a thing, I think in high school, there was something in his like high school yearbook where it was like, he was voted most likely to or he was interviewed by a local newspaper, and they said, what is your plan? And he said, I don't have one. I just know I'm going to be a musician. It was something like that. And they were like, well, that's not a plan. And he was like, oh, I'm fucking John Mayer. So, and I appreciate that concept of just taking that, what you know in that time, what you love, and whatever you focus on. And I think if we really delve into what is that actually, not what were you doing the most, what were you focused on the most? And though that was when I started performing, what I was focused on the most was love. Like the thing that I am best at, like I'm a pretty good dancer, but I would argue that the thing I'm best at, ironically, is understanding and seeing and helping people find love and the love they deserve, which is such a surprising turn of events, because we attach it to, well, what do I make the most money at? Right? Not what am I what am I able to create out of all of this? So I just wanted to touch on that because that got me. There was another thing, but we'll get back to it.
I want to add one. Is it really loud, by the way?
Not at all.
Okay, perfect. I want to add one more thing, and Arthur touched on this, and I think this is a part of why I've been so blessed, is sharing the blessings with other people. And I want to share something that happened 2 days ago that like put the biggest smile on my face. I don't know if you guys, Brandon and Arthur, have met any of my gatherings, Jon Colt.
Yeah.
Okay, and I think he's a close friend. I remember 2 years ago, he was bartending at an event for this one planner, Stephanie Cove, and I was working for Steph. And I remember seeing him, and I was telling him, like, dude, we got to get you on this side. Like, I will make it within a year. I'll have you out of bartending, and I'll have you doing events. And I remember talking to him, and we are getting him into it. And I'm like, yo, I'll get you travel. Like, we will get you international. I don't know how, but we'll figure it out. Long story short, 2 days ago, I think he just wanted to work for Steph in Greece. And I told him, I was like, dude, FaceTime me at some point. He FaceTimed me in Santorini in that epic going down, and he like just stood there and he was like, dude, thank you. And I was just like, just with the biggest smile, because I was like, Greece has been on my list for a while, but I know I need to take myself out of certain jobs to focus on other projects. And I told him, I'll slide you into my place. And so to see him on this job that I probably would have been on, and he's enjoying Greece, which he wanted to do, and he's getting paid to be out there, just put the biggest smile on my face. And he's even told me, he's like, dude, you've changed my life. Like, you got me in this world and everything like that. I'm like, dude, you keep doing what you're doing because it makes me look good too, that you're crushing it. And that whole idea of helping each other out, and it's kind of like what Arthur was saying, like, I have his philosophy is like, I don't want to make it to the top by myself, because then who am I celebrating with? I want all of us to rise to the top, so then we're all celebrating together. And like, that's something that's, I think the reason I've been so blessed is because I share as much of the blessings and help other people as much as I can. And so anyone watching, wondering how to bring more blessings in your life, share it with others. Bring blessing to other people's life. Karma will bring it back.
You know what I would love, Arthur, is for you to close us out with something in the sense around paying it forward, and what we've been talking about being blessed to being a blessing. I'd love for you to leave the audience with your wisdom and your stylish ways and amazing smile.
It's, a mentor of mine told me once, like, yeah, give it away. And I think Jon is a really good example of that. And I noticed very quickly, if I was in my shit, if I was swirling in the shit of everything that's not working and whatever it might have been, if I chose to volunteer at something, if I chose to be in service, feed the homeless, or help a friend move with my truck, Brandon. All of a sudden, what I was dealing with didn't matter anymore. And it was like this automatic action that helped me take inventory of what I did have, right? So even something as silly as like making peanut butter jelly sandwiches and passing those out, it's like, it was nothing to me, but it was everything to some other person. It was like, dude, I have so much. And so the simple act of focusing out and giving, when I'm focused in, it's the swirl of what's not working and what could be better and what I don't have. And when you focus out, it's all of a sudden, it's, taking inventory of what I have to give. And all of a sudden, I feel completely different. I'm sure you guys have all been there too, right? When you help someone, who feels better? Everyone does, right? It's the win-win, no one loses. And so that's been a tenet and a practice of mine too, is consistently, if I'm in my shit, find an opportunity to serve and to give. And it sounds crazy, but I think the greatest example of that is probably like Jesus Christ. He was a man of, like, religion or not, if you believe in Jesus or not, the results don't lie. Let's just talk about results. Jesus Christ. Who is he now? There's a billions and billions of dollar organization called the Catholic Church, the Southern Baptist Church. How many Bibles are sold every year? It's probably still one of the best-selling books every year. But like, the results don't lie. They're there because this man was a man of service consistently from the day he was born. He literally died in service to people. And so I think in a weird way, that is the perfect example. Man of service, needed nothing, and all he did was gave. And if you use the church as an extension of this man, the results are there. Make sense?
Just stop.
Martin Luther
Just
King.
stop. Just stop. Just stop. Just stop. Just stop. Just stop. No more. I don't want no more. No more. Ah, Jesus Christ. Literally. What? Stop. Someone stop this man. Ah.
I can see though.
I'm-
Like Martin
I'm
Luther
gonna,
King.
yeah.
Consistent service from till the moment he died. And arguably the greatest legacy in this country, period. That keeps on going and keeps on growing.
There is one tie-in though between what you said about both of those people that I want to make sure that we touch on, and then you got to say something else to make this a smooth transition out. The giving, we've said a couple of times, well, karmically it'll come back around. It'll be this beautiful thing. You cannot do it with that in mind. You cannot love if your goal is to get something back. Your action has to be outward. Your action has nothing to do with what you get out of that situation. It's like the first time that one of the teachers that I had talked about altruism, and they said altruism is giving and getting absolutely nothing in return. I said, that's ridiculous. That's not true. That's not an actual thing, because no matter what, you get a good feeling back. You get something, you get the knowledge back. It's like performers. I always tell them 98% of what you do, 99% is give that. That's not for you. You don't get it. You get to stand on stage at the end and take a bow. You get adoration. People pay money, give you their time, and then stand up and clap for you to do that thing that you like to do. So our goal as giving should be to give it away, and that should be the end of our goal. If you're in service, you're in service. You're not in service so that. And I just wanted to make sure that as we're focusing on this giving, it's not for the purpose of receiving. Hopefully the universe finds a way to give that back, and I believe that it very often does. But if you're looking for how am I going to get something out of this, I think you're missing the point. Because those beautiful, beautiful men that you just spoke of didn't do it so that. They did it for this. I love that. Terrible guest, Gorski. Terrible guest. We had to drag him all the way through this. This was awful. It wasn't inspiring. Brandon barely even got fired up.
Yeah, it's bad. So we're going to work on here, guys, is being a blessing by teaching you how to use your ankles
to clap.
That's what you're going to learn today. Just like your wrists. Just like your wrist, right here.
I'm ready to receive. What are we doing?
That's probably the best closeout right there.
Yeah, no.
You totally could.
It's gonna be a hard cut. That's not even a fade.
You could totally cut it out after that, dude. You have been a fucking blast.
Yeah, this was awesome, man. Thank you so much.
You were incredible, man. Yeah.
No, this is a good connection.
Jon mentioned it, and I was like, yeah, for sure. And it's nothing to us because it seems like all of us, we do this often, but like the fact that men are having conversations about being men and how to be good men, it's weird, it's revolutionary. I get so many calls and texts from friends that are like, thank you for having that conversation in a different format. And like, it's so refreshing to see men get vulnerable and talk about other men. And the fact that it's called the Refinery, right? Like, yeah, let's refine ourselves and let's go through fire and be better. This is a form of giving, right? And so it was an automatic yes, no hesitation. Yeah, let's do this. This is really cool. Thank you.
Absolutely terrible.
My favorite,
Stop it, you guys.
Stop it. No, your dad's story is like one of my highlights. The grunts. If that's not a comedy bit, if you don't use that at parties, you should. Like
that's got.
It was so
solid pickup. Like
so good.
So funny.
Oh my God, I love you.
Love you guys too.
Wow.
Good.
Wait, so do you speak Japanese?
I understand it. I've been to Japan multiple times, and I found that in like 2 weeks, it starts coming back and I can start communicating a lot more. But the first 2 weeks, I look like an idiot.
I got to live in Japan for a little bit. And where are you
Cool
guys
place.
from specifically?
My dad's from Hiroshima.
Oh, okay.
Crazy, man. He was born 10 years after the bomb dropped. My grandma watched it drop. She was supposed to be in the city center, but she was on like a school trip and in the woods, and she saw it drop. So it's wild, which circles back to like the blessing of being alive. Like I shouldn't be here, and she should be dead. So it's wild. But I have family pretty much throughout Japan at this point, in Tokyo, Osaka, Hiroshima. But it's a cool place. John or Brandon, have you guys gone?
Yeah.
You'll love it. We'll go.
Decent people everywhere. Everyone's just decent.
Yeah,
Cool.
right?
Yeah.
It's the craziest thing because I spent most of my time in Tokyo, but also a little bit of time in Hyogo Prefecture. And I mean, it's just everywhere that I went it was remarkable, especially because so many people, and this is something that the more you travel, the more you realize, especially the more you travel internationally, the more you realize the rest of the world realizes that most Americans aren't going to even attempt to learn that language. And
Right.
so ironically though, instead of fighting that, they welcome you by knowing at least some English everywhere. And I mean, everyone. And luckily I did learn a little bit going in. But I would have to order for everybody because nobody in the other 50 people I was with gave a shit to learn anything about the language, but they still got to survive there because everybody in Tokyo specifically, but even in Hyogo, like everybody was like, "Oh, we got you. We can do this." It was just a very cool thing.
Yeah.
You spoke of your dad kind of past tense. Is he around still?
Yeah, he's around. He's
Okay.
still around. Yeah. He's it's weird as we grow up in our relationships with their dad. I think they're probably all tough. And he's a man of zero affection and zero sort of like encouragement. And I think that's why I became the gregarious kid, because it was like the anti-dad.
Yep. Yeah.
And looking back on it now, it's like, man, you taught me so much. Yeah. And then adopting his honor, integrity, duty turned me from a young kid or young, dumb, full of cum, like in my 20s, into being a man was what I was missing because I was resisting who he was. And when I adopted it, it was like, oh, dude, this is it.
Isn't that a nice blessing though? Because had you fully embraced who he was, had we all embraced who they were, we would be so similar to them that I don't necessarily believe that we would have surpassed them the way that I believe all children should surpass their parents. And how fucking awesome is it that we all became these, whether kind of outgoing introverts, or whatever version of that. I don't think Gorski is an introvert overall, but then to have the other layer, like we had so many years to discover who we were because they weren't necessarily there to show us, or they didn't do that part of it. So we had to establish, well, this is who I'm going to be in the world. And then we got to look at, oh, this person that I'm told that I'm supposed to know and love and respect and have learned from. Now I get to choose what I want to learn from them. It's a surprise blessing, or a blessing in disguise, I think, that we all discovered who we were, because otherwise wouldn't we just be them 2.0, and that's not going to help the world at all. So
last story from me. So I'm going through all this transformation, personal development. I'm doing all these workshops. I'm learning about my traumas and where they come from. Mostly all dad. And I actually grew up thinking and believing in my heart that he didn't like me. Like, my dad doesn't like me, period. And that was my belief. And so I got to a certain point where I'm just like, I'm 27 at this point. I'm like, I'm going to dump. I'm going to talk to him. I'm going to clear this up. I'm going to clean it up. I'm going to take responsibility. And so I go to his house, sit him down, and I'm like, listen, I know I haven't lived up to your expectations. I know our relationship isn't what it should be. And literally half of our life together in this lifetime is done. And I'd like to create a new, let's finish off the story, the last half, and let's design this. And he didn't say anything. And this moment changed my life. He looks at me and he's like, I don't know what you're talking about. And I was like, what are you talking about? And he was like, I think we're great. I think we have a relationship that I've never seen other dads have with their kids. We talk sports, we watch basketball games together. And I'm really proud of the relationship that we have together. And a couple points on that, I didn't see it. I wasn't looking at the blessing. I was looking at what was wrong with it.
Wow.
And in that sentence that he said to me, all of my trauma disappeared because I was working under the belief that he didn't like me. And in that moment, it was, he's doing the best he knows how to do. And so am I. And we're good. And it literally changed my life, period. Confidence, self-worth, all that stuff, it evaporated and it just went away.
That's cool.
If there's any way to keep that clip, Colt, this is for editing. No, I'm serious, for editing purposes.
Yeah, no,
I don't know how you can, because it's still recording, thank God. Yeah. Because that is going to be so healing. Because we didn't really touch on narrative of the father. I mean, it was a very brief, appetizer. We weren't really going to get into fatherhood like that. But also, damn, we have to have all these guests we had back. Every guest.
Why don't we just do a part 2 of specifically this as if y'all are down for it, as a follow-up for next week, Arthur, if you can make it, so that we can, because I can figure out a way to put that in, but I think it may be more beneficial. Sorry, I don't know.
Do a whole.
It may be more beneficial.
Closer, Colt. Closer.
I think it may be more beneficial for us to do an entire episode that focuses on exactly that, which is, not to commandeer the topic, but something to the degree of what was, whether a trauma or a moment that you had with your father where you realized he wasn't who you decided he was.
The narrative.
Yeah.
Dude, but this is a nice little, commandeering. I think it's amazing. It's an amazing conversation to lead into. I think there's a really big conversation, whether Father's Day is coming up or not, around how men are supporting men, fatherhood, and men of today. There's a really, and I don't know if you guys feel the buzz, but I've been seeing a lot of articles pop up, and not because of what I follow, but literally other platforms. People Magazine has been publishing so many articles outside. The one I sent you guys about the dad bringing his daughter drinks because she's been quarantining. Here's your cocktail for the day, sweetie, and running off because he doesn't want to get caught. Seeing that and having that conversation is a really big part of refining ourselves. Is you have an identity attachment to your parents. And either that is you are trying your damnedest to be the furthest thing from them, or you are literally walking in their footsteps and you're inspired by them. But the narrative for all of us, in a sense, is what did you think he thought of you and what did you think he felt about you? And either that's still being confirmed or it actually has been dismissed. So I can't wait to tackle that. But you will be the first guest we've had back to back.
Yeah,
that'll be a Refinery first. No, I'm serious. That'll be a Refinery first. I hope none of the other guests get jealous. Ben, we told Ben he'd be back soon. We'd be like, hey, Ben, something came up. Somebody came up.
He had a
Thanks,
great
John.
hat.
Yeah, he had a great hat. You didn't have a hat. We had a bad connection. Something happened with the Zoom call, and we had to pick it up for a part 2. It just kind of cut off. My phone died, so we had to pick it up.
And it was a different day, and we were all in a different. But that's
continuity. John Gorski had a alarm going off in the background. We had to just do it again. Had to just shoot it again.
So, question: should we try to film the next one of these at 10:15 a.m.? Maybe at 10:10 we start. 5 minutes in, John's alarm goes off, and we all have an intro. I'm just trying to prep the intro. Okay. I'm going to get out of here. I love you guys. Arthur, seriously, thank you so much for being here. And
thanks, guys, for having me.
I mean,
Yeah, have an amazing weekend, guys. Be safe, enjoy, be blessed.
Happy future Father's Day to all of you.
Woo,
or
dude.
if you are a father,
I'm out.
happy Father's
I'm out.
Stop.
Goodbye.
Stop. Jesus Christ.